Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave. It's a nice rainy day over here from Helsinki, Finland. Wishing you the best and the happiest, because why the hell not? And we should get into the price action discussion as soon as possible right here, because plenty of things have happened. We've hit our short-term time frame upside targets, and now what is the setup? Mostly actually for this next week to come, as CME did already close for the week yesterday. That being Friday, and with that in mind, let's get under the Crown Chain application, which we found at app.crunchy.net. By the way, I should let you know, I'm actually going to be uploading a nice little interview that I had with my good friend Jason Pizzino later tonight. So keep an eye out for that as we do discuss all sorts of things. Actually, pretty damn fun discussion. I really like that guy. You should definitely check out his channel as well if you are interested in such things. Anyways, on the Crown Chain application we go, and which, by the way, can be found at app.crunchy.net. There is a link to the description below. It is also 100% free as well, with the most quant statistics and data available on the overall interwebs. What do we see as far as the top-end dashboard goes? We see the fear and greed index still in the greedy zone, but funnily enough, even with Bitcoin putting in this pretty monstrous rally here, we still have not really seen this even take a leg up from the 70 read, which is in the greedy zone, not necessarily the extreme greedy zone, which would be above about 85.90, which is where you really do start to get a little bit more, I suppose, scared, if you will. But more importantly, the market should be reflecting that, as Bitcoin essentially has, printed 60% off the lows from 29,000 to 49,000 bucks, which is actually a little bit more than that. A $20,000 run, pretty much unabated. A little bit of sideways here and there, but that's all good in the hood. Anyways, Bitcoin dominance 43.5%. So we do still see that the reversal is getting followed through, which we did identify about a week and a half ago now, and we do expect altcoin Bitcoin pairings to be rallying throughout this, especially for the stronger ones. Maybe not all across the board, but in general. As far as top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins, we see anything of particular interest right here. Voyager token giving up a lot of those gains that we were looking at, I think it was a day or two ago. And then Player, once again, I don't know what the fuck this thing is, but still on the winners list, another 23.5%, not bad, among many other things as well. I see Kusama back on the winners list, Polygon, Solana, Telcoin, Synthetics, Bitcoin Gold, what the fuck, and Avalanche. There you go. Anyways, into the market data tab we go. We got a couple of very interesting things going on right here. We do see global funding rate actually at the highest level that I have seen in about 3-4 months now, going back to May. In fact, just under 0.02%, that is. So still not anything too concerning, but this is actually the biggest leg up we have seen in a while now. So you actually are paying a little bit of funds to actually hold your long positions on derivative exchanges in general. But with that said, it's really not until it's about 5x that, or even a little bit more realistically, before I look at that as somewhat problematic and very likely getting a good reversal for, at the very least, the medium term timeframes. On top of that, humongous positions being added on global open interest right on over here, right on Friday. This is very fucking important, especially with CME closing on that day and closing on an up note for the weekly closure, which is really good. We see that this rally is continually supported with new positions, and more importantly, this is maintaining its own uptrend, and I do look at this as very good, alongside the leverage ratio and exchanges reserves both maintaining their downtrend, although this one's a little bit shaky right there. And global exchanges net flow is actually showing a bit of a negative print right there too. Imagine that has something to do with Binance enforcing KYC, but hey, it was inevitable, sir. It was inevitable. So let's get into the price action charts right now and this follow-up from yesterday's short-term analysis. So we did get the breakout. Or actually, it's really from 2 days ago. So we did identify this as a bear trap right around here. A little bit easier to see on CME, of course, with that move right back above 45,000 bucks right here on that closing basis. We put out that video saying, hey, this is probably going to run to 47 plus, and that's pretty much what we got thus far. So again, with that in mind, CME closure phenomenal for Friday, by the way. Closing on volume on the highs is typically a good sign. And just a general rule of thumb for traditional markets is that when you have a very strong closure on Friday, you typically get follow through on Monday. This especially works to the downside, but in this case we do have the upside. And of course, CME uptrend essentially remains here, and I would be looking at that as essentially viable as long as Bitcoin is above 46,500 or so. So looking very good right there. But because it is not trading over the weekend, the best that we can do is looking at spot price action, which does leave a lot to be desired. And for what it's worth, I do expect, usually on weekends, a little bit of fuckery to happen perhaps. So this is really a setup for next week, but things do look more or less good. This is going to be the first time in a while I brought you over here to the trending charts. Isn't it nice? Anyways, we do see the 12-hour for Bitcoin actually closing a nice girthy green dildo above the topside trend band right now on an expansive posturing as well. And I imagine that volatility is also expanding from that. And what do you know? It is almost around 40 percentile right now, expanding from a very low level, about 3.7 percentile right there. So that is good. And I do look at this as essentially trend in motion with very likely to beget more continuation to the upside as long as we are closing 12-hour dildos above the topside trend band. That is currently at about 49,000 bucks and some odd change. So as long as that condition is met, I would look for Bitcoin to essentially leg up and tag our next set of targets, which is basically right below 51,000 bucks. There's a short one right there, actually right at this little rejective high, but that is not going to be a big one. That would be pretty much actually right where we're at right now. So you could look at this as the first pullback from there. That is to be expected. Here's the next somewhat relevant one, although I do expect that Bitcoin, based off that closure, will make a leg up into the 50,000 bucks. Into next week to kind of, well, I guess, spoil the surprise. Let's put a nice little blue box of destiny over here, and this would be the next sort of area that I'd be looking for as a bit of a pivot on the medium-term timeframes here. So I would be looking for Bitcoin to, one, very likely test this region, preferably, you know, around late Sunday or early Monday, as CME actually trades around that time. If this happens over the weekend, you might start to look for a little bit of trappy situations, but fair enough. You know, as long as as long as this area, or sorry, as long as Bitcoin can close above this region, actually would be looking for general continuation, whether it is a weekend or not. The question is, does Bitcoin play out one of those, you know, like basically bear trap moves over the weekend to the downside? That would actually be quite good, mostly for myself, so that I could, you know, do a little bit of trading, as that would be rather obvious right now. But as far as this goes right here, more or less fine. And what do we see else as far as momentum oscillators go? We do see 12-hour MACD also twisting up as well. Caretaker's reverse MACD says that this will continue with the upside momentum as long as above 47,900 or so. So we're clean $1,000 above that right now. It looks like still looking pretty damn good as well for general continuation, and even the ADR also remaining with its positive posturing. But let's go over here to our to my main charts, and I just want to follow up on this signal from Caretaker's RSI. It's like everything's Caretaker now. God damn it, Caretaker, what the fuck, man? It's like I only trade Caretaker stuff except for the Jewel, which is myself in Mournfall now. Anyways, we did see that hidden bullish evidence play out from yesterday. Now I would look at this as still in motion, however, because Bitcoin is just freshly getting into the bullish control zone right here and back above the exponential. So I do expect that we will hit some deeper targets on that, and again, that would essentially be around I guess on spot price action, it's a little bit higher than CME at about 51,400. Let's see, what was it on? What was it over here? Oh no, this is spot as well. Yeah, 51. Let's just call it 51,500 to 50,700 in that nice little zone. Is CME the same thing? CME is actually a little bit above there at 51.6, all the way down to about 50,500 or so. So I would be looking for a test around there. And then very likely a short-term pullback, and then we see, you know, where the higher term time frames close. If they start to close above there, I would be looking for a general leg up into the mid $50,000 territory, somewhere between about 55 to 56,000 bucks, and then I would be looking for a pullback around that region. I suspect that we are also very likely hitting one of our major fibs within this region as well, and not on this chart because that's not applicable to what we're looking at right now. Let's draw one for this whole scenario right here. And let's just actually take this one on a closing basis. There we go. And what do you know? We do see we're actually above the 620 in this case. Let's see, what if we could put this on a weekly and judge it from this perspective? There we go. That's going to change it a fair bit. Okay, let's get that right there. Let's get that right there. And actually, no, we're still above that one as well. Looking pretty damn good. So that was my my bull trappy area, my potential bull trappy area. And while we did get a few responses off that intro week, the key critical component was what we discussed a few days ago on this higher low right here. I think a little bit easier to see on CME once again as well, and also that lower term time frame bear trap. So as you know, as soon as that one got ticked off, we did say, hey, look, this one's going to 47 and probably more than that over time into next week. I believe that's what we're getting right now. So this is looking very, very good. For the next week to come. I don't necessarily know about this weekend, but for what it's worth, higher term time or even lower term timeframes and higher term timeframes looking pretty damn good from a momentum perspective. We see right here on the hourly, volatility is all the way down, so we are very likely looking for a move today. And we do see hourly Stokes will actually cross back onto the upside with any sort of move above 49,250. So it's essentially saying that the trend right now is in motion. Are we on? Yes. Okay, we are on the right chart. Yes. What about the buy hourly? We do see that's actually coming down as long as below 49,350. Okay, very interesting. 3 hours says what? 49,250, and 4 hours says what? 48,650. So essentially, if Bitcoin does fail to continue on with the rally from this exact moment, I wouldn't say this exact moment, but over this intraday action right here, then I would be looking for a bit of a pullback. Can pullbacks come all the way down to like 47 or 47,500? Yes, but I would be looking for a bounce and higher low being performed right there as well. Generally speaking, though, I am overall, I suppose, bullish, and we do see that the 12-hour Stokes are actually having a fresh cross the upside and will be remaining to the upside as long as about 45,000 bucks. And by the way, again, BBW, or sorry, this is actually not BBWP. This is HVP right here, expanding from a very, very low posturing. We already see BBWP expanding itself, which is why I kind of like it a little bit more, but kind of getting the same things anyways. And that can lead into the daily, which will have a chance to cross the upside today at 8 p.m. Eastern time if we do close above 48,300. So with that in mind, and by the way, another bounce off the critical zone, which is actually a very strong signal. So, as long as Bitcoin essentially holds it sideways here, and we can come up with a bit of a range right now. In fact, in this case, for the short-term timeframes, I would use this nice little low right there at 48,350. And essentially, as long as Bitcoin's above there, I'd be looking for sideways and up. But if Bitcoin does start to come back down and take out this area, even just trading below it, then I would be looking for a pullback first, and then very likely another try to the upside into early next week. The only way that I'd even get medium-term bearish on this price action, which is not even the right term to be relating anyways, would be if Bitcoin starts to close 4-hour dildos below about 47,500. If it can do that, yes, I would be looking for a greater pullback, somewhere down around 46,000 bucks, maybe 45.5 or so, and very likely still another higher low on the higher term timeframes there once again. Let's also see, did a 2-day close last night? Oh, yes, it did. And that is one girthy, massive green dildo in my face, a bullish engulfing as well on a breakout into another macro area. You might say that's good. You can also see over here, the 2-day RSI back in the bullish control zone looking rather powerful as well. And we do see expanding volatility as well, but this is not necessarily the best time frame to be using this on. Anyways, 3-day and not going to be closing tonight. Actually going to be closing tomorrow night. So not of too much relevance right now, but generally good. We did get the silver cross right here. This was also around the same time that we did get the golden cross running over here as well. Also just higher lows. And by the way, should follow up on the hidden bullish divergence signal on the daily as well. Good. And again, I'm looking for general continuation from here, especially as Bitcoin's above all major movement averages with BBWP on the floor and looking for an expansive posturing above about 13 percentile right now, which would look really, really good. I'm curious what momentum oscillators do say on the 2-day and 3-day. 2-day stays up as long as above 48. Again, this is rather aggressive right here. So when the pullback does happen, it will be swift and it will take no prisoners. But for right now, I do still believe at least into early next week, we probably see some more highs on this run. 3-day, same thing, 48,000 bucks. 5-day, are we closing this one today? No, we're not. It's actually not. But hey, there is something really, really important about the 5-day. Oh, guess what? Another fucking higher term time frame that has a bullish engulfing dildo in my goddamn face. Shish kebab, the Anguses of all bear-odds. And let's see where this one does take us. I actually do think that this very likely does move up into the mid-50s, probably into next week, maybe the week after that. This is looking pretty damn good. Anyways, we're already 12 minutes into this video right now. Let's just check out Ethereum really quickly here. Ethereum analysis is pretty damn similar to Bitcoin, although not following as much here. We do see the same sort of setup actually on the daily, hidden bullish evidence right here. And as long as essentially Ethereum is running above, especially the 10 simple in this case, which is 3190, I do look at this as very likely to fall through with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin right now, the leader, which is typically what you want to see in these rallies. The big news for Ethereum, however, is this right here on our trending charts. Let me go to the monthly, and we do have the end of the month coming in about 9 or 10 days, depending upon your position in the world right now. And the important thing about this is that if Ethereum does close above the topside Toronto band, which is about 32,000 bucks right now, then I would be looking for not just a retest of prior all-time highs, probably September, maybe October, but very likely new all-time highs before end of year. Probably gonna, gun for that $5,000 target or whatever it ends up being, but still enough days left in the trading month to go where it's, it's not too relevant right now, but you can kind of see that there's a bit of a setup right there and a very obvious way to be managing positions, as essentially you'd be playing the trend right here. This is going to be your higher low if this is going to continue on. So back on to Bitcoin just really quickly here. I do want to get this out as well. So I spent a lot of time harping on this for like the last 3-4 months, which was the hash ribbons indicator right here, printing a blue buy signal in 7th of August actually. And if you've referenced my long-term analysis playlist that hosts the last video called the low is in for Bitcoin, a little bit of a clickbait title right there, but I do give my reasoning for that. You can go through the whole rigmarole of this, but basically what I found, and again, we put it in that video with data and everything, is that anytime you have a blue buy signal on the hash ribbons indicator, the prior daily low to that blue buy signal was the macro low before, never closing a daily delta below there. All 16 iterations except for one, that being coronavirus dump times right in over here, getting the blue buy signature, then actually does dump out pretty damn harshly after that. Can obviously happen again. It is a non-zero probability to have these sort of nasty, what do you want to call them, black swan events, but ultimately, hopefully you can't even hear the rain. It's actually raining so hard out right now that it's actually getting rather loud. But basically now, if we are looking at this from that perspective, we would expect this next low to be that next major higher low. that, you know, Bitcoin does not violate if this is going to hold true. So again, not 100% infallible, obviously, but there is a very well and documented area to kind of be looking at risk from a long-term perspective. Take that as you will. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. And there will be ebbs and flows in this market, yes, obviously, but for right now, things are looking pretty damn good going into the end of the month. Speaking of, weekly accumulation distribution indicator continues with its upside posturing. I'm curious what the monthly's at right now too. Still pretty down, so not great right there, but fair enough. We'll just ignore that one for right now. We're only talking about bullish things today until Bitcoin comes back down and takes out that $45,000 lower. So anyway, we spoke about Ethereum, we spoke about that. I do want to make this video a little bit on the shorter side, so you know what, I am going to end it. I'm going to end it right there. Again, a little bit of a little bit of an interesting weekend, of course, but as Bitcoin reapproaches 49,000 bucks overall, I do look for Bitcoin to very likely make a leg up into the 50,000s probably over the next week or two. And again, the areas of sort of operation here are very well defined. So short term, as long as above 48,350, good. If we do start to lose that area, we'd be looking for a bit of a weekend pullback and wash out down to 47,000 bucks or so. Very likely tries for a higher low right there. If that area does fail, that's where it starts to let go of these ideas and say, hey, something new is going on. Maybe we have a bit of a bull trap going on here. Definitely possible. I just don't think it's as likely for right now. And until then, sideways and up into the into the beginning of this next week is what I'd very likely be looking for, with BBWP actually on the 4 hour, rather hot right now, but still be looking for that to get to 100 percentile on this run before looking for a short-term pullback perhaps. And again, all higher term timeframes are looking more or less fine here. Anyways, with that said, I want to wish you the best and the happiest once again. Take care. And I salute you. Hopefully see you soon.